Shalom everybody, hallelujah, Bahasham Yashawai, all praise to the Almighty, I am that I am, He is who He is, Amen. Hope you guys are having a lovely day today. We're going to be getting into some great information about the Feast of Trumpets, which is coming in about a day and a half. You can say 2 days, but it's really a day and a half, because you know we go from evening to evening. Well, today is the 29th day of the 6th month, according to Enochian calendar. According to the Julian season calendar, today is September 11th. Yes, this was the day when George Bush blew up the towers and all that. Yeah. But I pray for those souls that were killed for nothing during that day. That was part of that satanic ceremony and sacrifice, which people don't get. But all praise to the Most High anyway, because He's the one who had sent all that. So we're going to go right ahead and begin. Once again, today is the 29th day of the 6th month, the final semester of summer. We're heading into fall season, and we have Feast of Trumpet at the beginning of fall season, which falls on the first day of the 7th month, which is in 2 more days. Alright, so I wanted to begin with, hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Alright, because I took some notes to save it and stuff so we can be able to go through it together. So may the Holy Spirit of Truth, Rawak HaKwadash, be with us here today. And may the Spirit of Yeshua, Hamashiach, the Christed One, the Messiah, the Anointed, also guide us through this lesson. May the Father send His angels to guide us and keep us safe from all 4 corners of our existence. And may He teach us the things that we need to be taught today. May we receive our holy bread. May we also help those around us too that need their holy bread, that are spiritually poor and are thirsty and hungry for the spiritual truth, that spiritual food. So if you are one of them, Yahweh Alahaya Mahaya Barakata, He is God, I am, blesses you. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin our lesson for today. We're gonna talk about wait, let me see. We're gonna talk about like when the year starts too. It's everything's gonna make sense by the end of this video. I know I've spoke about these a couple of times, but now I've got better at explaining it and simplifying it, as well as I understand it from many angles now. So I'll be able to like help you understand why I am convinced the new year begins when I know it begins, based on scripture and biblical proof, and how you can find the real time. And if it's not true, correct me. Please correct me. Leave a comment, say something, email me, godlivesinourheart@hotmail.com, or Skype me at Archangel Macintosh. Other than that, you know, there's no way that people like me can learn and grow unless we share things and say something. You know what I'm saying? We can't just leave people stranded and be like, he don't get it, so I'm going to just leave it. I could have said that and not make this video today, and you could have missed Feast of Trumpets in 2 days. So appreciate these things, and I appreciate your correction and reproof as well. We need this to grow as a nation of people. It's the only way. Think about it. So the book of Enoch, Kanawak, explains that there are a total of 364 days in a solar year cycle. A total of 4 seasons, each having approximately 91 days. So 91 times 4 equals 364, which means New Year's will always fall around the same general area and time and date every year, according to our calendar. But this is where the stumbling blocks begin to appear. But according to the Julian season calendar, it seems like it comes at a later date or earlier date, because the way the Julian season calendar is constructed, with 365 days in a year, which throws people off. And plus, each season does not always have 91 days in it, like the book of Enoch is stating that it should have, which is the time and the proper calculation and calendar the Most High, through Christ Yis-RoyAl, had given and provided to Enoch. So Noah and Methuselah and the children of Enoch, which we happen to be a descent of, can be able to calculate the times and keep the feasts and keep the festivals and the Sabbaths holy, so they don't make an abominable day the feast day. So this is extremely important. Now, I know your pastor is telling you guys it don't matter, but it really, 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 really does. And I'm going to prove it with the Most High's words. He's going to make it clear to you that you should be keeping these days and feasts, and that he only gave it to his chosen people, the elect, to know. The rest of the people ain't going to care. They ain't going to look at this video. They ain't going to know. I'm going to barely have any likes on this video. If I don't even get one, who knows? But I'll praise to the Most High that I know the truth. And that's all I care about. I don't care about anybody that hate what I say and don't agree with what the Most High says. I don't care with all that. That's all feelings. And we cast that down underfoot so it can be trodden down. So a total of 4 seasons, each having approximately 91 days. The first month in a season consists of 30 days. The second month in a season consists of 30 days. And the third month in a season consists of 30 days. Plus 1. Because that extra 1 day signifies and marks the transition of season. So do 30 times 12. Because there's 12 months, right? And all 12 months have 30 days, right? It'll equal 360. Now, add the extra 1 day that represents the season change of spring, summer, fall, winter. That's 4 extra days added on to the 360, giving you a total of 364 days. And on each season change, it's always a Sabbath. That's how you know when we're entering a season change and when the new year begins, because it always falls on a Shabbat. So the first month of each season equal 30 days, the second month of each season equal 30 days, and the third month of each season equal 30 days plus 1 extra day for each season change. So the 91st day in between seasons mark that a new season begins the day after it, according to the book of Enoch, and the current dates match pertaining to the spring vernal equinox, because spring represents New Year according to the Bible, according to the Holy Tanakh. It tells us that during the time of spring was when Christ resurrected, was when Christ sprung up from the dead, which signified the new year. This was the same time we marched out of Egypt during the Exodus. During the same time, and we passed over. We passed over. When Moses parted the sea, we passed over. The Most High wanted us to know the time of Passover. It's the most important time. So we can know when the other feasts and dates fall into place. January is not our new year. The New Year's of Eve is not our year. New Year's Eve and all this stuff. You know, Eve's New Year, Jezebel's New Year. That's not our New Year. And plus, that New Year's during winter, in the middle of it almost, so towards the end, during January. Our New Year begins in spring, because that's when life begins. And that's when Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac, but he sacrificed the lamb that day. That was the same time that the holy lamb was slain, which was Yis-RoyAl. And this was a time when Joshua stopped the sun and the moon for half an hour. So the half an hour moon and sun stopping also represents the extra day season transition or season change. So there's also portals around these season changes and around these feast dates and times. So it's important for us to reenact what our ancestors did and went through during that day, not only to only remember our history, but to also reconnect with the Most High, and that the Most High can remember us. He'll be like, hey, I remember their ancestors used to do this. They used to do this on this day at this time, the same way that these descendants of those ancestors are doing today. You want the Most High to remember us, man. We must keep the commandments. So, according to the book of Kanawak and the current dates match pertaining to the spring vernal equinox, the period where the night and day are of equal length. The only time that there's equal day and night is during spring. And the way you can check that out is by going to the Naval Observatory. Go to yahoo.com, put in Naval Observatory, which is the time based on the Navy. And you know they need the proper time and all that stuff because they follow whatchamacallit, like military time and the 24-hour time or whatever they call it. Although there's 18 hours in a day according to the book of Enoch. But we're not going to get into that right now. But type in Naval Observatory into Yahoo or Google. And it's a process though. You're going to have to click in you have to click on one of the sidebars on the left, which will lead you to darkness and sunlight. That darkness and sunlight, darkness and sunlight link, which is on the left side of that website, the Naval Observatory. You need to click on that, and there's a whole process to it. I won't be able to explain it now, but I have it in one of my videos in part 3 or part 4. It's called Telling Time Based on the Sun, Stars, and Moon. You can find that by clicking on my YouTube name or YouTube channel, and it should lead you to it. But once you get to that screen that I'm telling you about, equal darkness and light, or equal day, equal night, you're going to have to type in the location as Mount Sinai or Jerusalem. And it's a whole process. I wouldn't be able to explain it to you guys like this, you know what I'm saying? But through that Naval Observatory, and after you type in everything correctly, it'll give you a chart for the whole year telling you what days are equal day and equal night. And for some reason it always falls on the same day of our New Year. You see what I'm saying? Equal day and equal night on the time of our New Year. That's how we know that it's New Year's, because there's equal day and equal night, which is during springtime. Now the other season, when there's equal day and equal night, but it's not New Year, is during fall. And fall is right across from spring. You spring and then you fall and things get cold, but then you spring up again and things get nice and warm again. And then you fall again and head back into winter and things spring back up. Right across from summertime is wintertime, and right across from spring is fall. So during fall, there's also equal day, equal night, which represents that same day of Feast of Trumpets, the 7th month in our Hebraic year. So it's kind of complicated to explain sometimes, but once you know the proper time and the proper date, everything falls on the same time and date every year according to our calendar. But according to the Julian season calendar, one day it's the 17th, next year it's the 16th, next year it's the 15th, then the 14th, then the 13th, and then it starts back at the 17th after like 4 years or something like that. Each year throwing you off. Especially if you go by 365 days. That's going to throw you off completely after a while. You know? So the 91st day of each season always falls on the last Shabbat of that season. Yawam Shabbat. Shabbat day. It's a day of Shabbat, which means a day of rest. Yawam Shabbat. Starting on Friday when it gets dark. Every season change is always on Friday when it gets dark, which represents even or sundown or sunset. Ending when it gets dark on Saturday. So from evening to evening. Also, new seasons always begin on the first day of the week, Sunday, or the first day of the week, which is Saturday night. Once the sun sets on Saturday, after you started Friday evening up until you got to Saturday evening and after. So after Saturday evening, when the day's all over and we're in the next day, that represents Sunday. So Saturday night is Sunday. That's the same period in time when Christ resurrected and woke up. Saturday night. But there's no such thing as the word Saturday. We call it the first day of the week. That's why people think we're talking about Sunday. Because we don't use the word Sunday. We use the word the first day of the week. What does everyone know as the weekend? Saturday. What does everyone know as the beginning of the week? The first day of the week. Knowing the end of the week. Sunday must be the first day of the week. So because people use the words like Sunday and Saturday and Friday, they're being thrown off. Because Friday and Saturday is one day, evening to evening. Saturday to Sunday is one day, from evening to evening. You see? So the new season begins Saturday sundown, nighttime. And when the sun rises on Sunday, this marks the official first day, daytime of the season. So when the sun rises up on Sunday, that's like towards the end of the day now. The day's about to end. So once the sun goes all the way up, you know, while the sun is up, that's day, because the sun represents day, the moon represents night. So on the first day of the week, which you guys call Sunday, once the sun goes up, that's pretty much considered as if it's night. Based on the context of what you guys call night. Night means the day's about to end, right? Well, so when the sun is up, all the way up, that means that we're pretty much in night. Once the sun goes down, we're in the next day. That means night is over. So once it's nighttime and the moon is going up, it's truly day, the next day. And by the time the moon goes all the way up and then it sets down again, and then the sun goes up, that is considered night. So night is day and day is night in the context of what you guys call it. But in the context of what we call it, the sun represents what we call day. And once it go down, day is gone. It's the next day. And the moon represents night. But night represents the beginning of the day. So take note. I know it's kind of like a brain twister sometimes. So the way we calculate days today is backwards. We go from day to night. But according to the Ibari culture or Ibariyat culture, the Hebrew culture and scripture, we are to go from night to day. Genesis 1:5. So to conclude, we have 4 seasons consisting of 91 days total. 3 months of 30 days, with an additional day added to the end of the 3rd month, being the 91st day, which is a Shabbat, indicating a new season is on the rise. Starting that first day of the week, which you guys arrogantly call Sunday. So the 7th day Shabbat begins on Friday night, sundown, ending Saturday night, sundown. That's the whole 7th day. This right here to the end of this sentence. From the beginning of this sentence, Friday, to the end of this parenthesis is the 7th day. By the end of this parenthesis is Sunday. It's the new day, which would be Saturday night. around 8:30 or something like that. You got to tell it based on the sun and moon. So holy days for current year 2014 through 2015. We'll be getting into this a little bit later. So sundown means nightfall, or when it gets dark. Evening, the latter part of the day. And even mean when the sun and moon is directly from each other, from equilateral to each other in the equator. You see, when the sun and moon is at the equator and they're equilateral to each other, even. And matter of fact, on the beginning of the year, for us, which is around March, when we marched out of Egypt, the sun and moon sets together, signifying equal day, equal night. These are also other signs to signify what day is the new year. And as you head into summer from spring, there's more day than night, more shining than darkness. And then once you reach the peak of summer, which is like this right now, during fall, which is the other equal day and equal night, we start to go back down. There's more night than day. So by the time we reach summertime, we're at the peak of sunlight. And as we head towards fall, after we hit the peak of summer, we start to have more night than day. But before we start to get more night than day, from summertime, there's less sunlight and more nighttime until they're both equalized. You see? So now the sun starts going down and the moon try to rise up to its peak. And then by the time they become equal, before the moon becomes more night than day, there's a season change, which is called fall. And on that day, the sun and moon is equal to each other. There's equal day and equal night during fall season. And then after we hit fall season, we start to go further down and the moon start going up more, and there's more night than day. You see? And by the time we hit the peak of winter now the moon start to go down and the sun start to go up, and then it becomes equal again during spring. So during spring and fall is when the sun and moon have equal day and equal night. During summertime, there's more sun than night. And during wintertime, there's more night than day. And when we head back into springtime, we're back in the east, because the sun rises in the east. We shall pray towards the east as well. The sun rises in the east in the fourth portal. And then as it goes into fall, it heads, so as the seasons head into fall, hold on, let me remember exactly what I'm trying to get across again. Equal day, equal night, blah, 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 blah. Hold on, equal day, equal night, more night than day, to spring, fall. Let me see. Pardon me, guys, I gotta remember this because it's pretty deep explaining these things sometimes. Okay, so by the time we get to fall season, we're all the way in the west. The sun is all the way in the west. That's why we get different types of sunlight and stuff like that throughout the year. And it's actually where the sun is positioned that creates the seasons. You see what I'm saying? It's the location of where the sun's at that create winter and summer. So by the time the sun is in spring, we're back in the east. By the time we're in fall, the sun is in the west. And now the sun must return back to the east, which means it goes through fall and winter, back into spring, which is back in the east where it started. So the beginning of the year is a very, very epic and powerful time. Very powerful time. So I hope you guys get what I'm bringing across. So before we get into this calendar right here, I wanted to get into, hold on one second. There's a couple of other signs that signify the new year as well. Alright. Alright, so there's a couple of things to this. We're going to start off with this right here first. So in the book of Jubilees, this is a very important book. You can look it up on Yahoo or Google. Type in the book of Jubilees. You can even type the book of Jubilees sacred text. And this is from actually the Bible is one. They took it out. This is where it tells us all our times, our feasts, how to keep them, everything. So in the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, verse 20 through 22. And I have chosen the seed of Jacob, Yis-RoyAl, from amongst all that I have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. And I will teach them the Yawam Shabbat, that they may keep Yawam Shabbat thereon from all work, to cease from doing any work on that day, especially these season changes. So, Feast of Trumpet falls on Friday sundown this week. So when thus he created therein a sign in accordance with which they should keep Shabbat with us on the seventh day, to eat and to drink and to bless him. So to eat and to drink holy foods, or to eat and to drink the word of God, Hadabar ala Hayam. Because the food we have nowadays is tainted. It's sacrificed to idols. I would not eat any meat brought from the store on these feast days. I must be crazy. If anything, maybe some unleavened bread, but even with that, I'm iffy now. Because they put stuff in our food, which makes it an abominable offering. Whether you know it or not, the Most High don't function based on what you know or not. He works based on what he demands and commands. And it's up to you to discern what is clean and unclean. Do you even look at the ingredients in the back of the boxes of the products you buy? That's what I'm saying. But on those days, if you have your own plants in your own garden, or if you have your own goats or your own chicken, and you're okay with, killing it yourself and cleaning it and all that stuff, and you filled it up with love before you did so, then go ahead. Cook you a feast, cook you up a meal. Before sundown Friday. Like that, to take Christ out of the cross and bury him in the tomb, the sepulcher, before the sun set. Because once the sun set, the feast began, which was the feast of Passover. And the feast of unleavened bread, which also represents the first day of Christ's death. And now you count 3 days, he wakes up on the first day of the week, which is Friday sundown, Saturday sundown, and after Saturday sundown would be the third day, which would mean the day Christ rose. So eat the flesh of Christ, which is the truth, and drink the blood of Christ, which is the truth on that day. And to bless him who has created all things, as he has blessed and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples. That's why not everybody will understand what we're bringing across today. And not many people will care to watch this video or care about what I have to say. They rather just think that I'm the one going to hell and I'm the one who's wrong, rather than adjust and correct themselves according to the word of the Most High. To humble themselves to it like I did. Where you think I get my info from? From thin air? So in that they should keep Shabbat, Yawam Shabbat, together with us. Because the holy angels also keep these feast dates and these Sabbaths. It's part of the contract, the covenant. So on that day, big things are in plan for us. Big things. And I know around these feast days and feast times, major disasters and things may happen. either to the enemy or to us. And if you look at history based on what happened on those days in history, something good or bad happened on that day or time. So these are the other reasons why we're reminded to keep these feasts, because they're much more than feasts. They're actually historical dates when major historical things happen, especially on the day of Passover. Matter of fact, we destroyed, or the Most High used us during the times of Joshua, which is Yahushai, to literally make the wall of Jericho fall down. And this was around the time of Passover. Joshua, Yahushai, made the sun and moon stop during that day when he commanded it. And this was during the time of Passover. The same supposed time that Christ was crucified and resurrected. The same time we marched out of Egypt. The same time Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac. And the same time the story of 300 happened, which is the story of Gideon. The defeat of Gideon, which is 300, the Spartans, the Medes and Persian war. So, and we defeated them. So during this time is a major time, especially the Feast of Trumpet as well, which is parallel to spring. Which is parallel to springing, which is fall. So take all of this into consideration. Absorb it real quick. I'll try to break it down into smaller chunks for you, so it's not overwhelming by the end of this video. I do want this to be edifying for everyone, but I can only give it to you the way that it is. So take your time to listen to each word that I say. At least what the Most High is saying, because these aren't my words. I just know how to word it in a way that people can get it. Or maybe you get the way he says it already. Who knows? Some people don't, and I don't want to have to keep explaining things in myself. So I keep it simple. So Salah. So when he caused his commands to ascend as a sweet savour, acceptable before him all the days. So his commands ascended as a sweet savour. All of us keeping this Sabbath together connects us. It ascends us. So as you can see above, it is impossible for Saturday to be the 7th day Sabbath in every year because of the added 2 days. The added 2 days throw you off. So if you call your weekdays Sunday, Monday, which are named after pagan gods anyway, like January and February and March and April and June and all this stuff, named after fallen gods, Roman Greek gods, are oppressors. And some people try to follow the Yiddish timing, but they follow the moon, which will throw you off. The moon represents Jezebel, and they worship Yahweh, which is the devil Jezebel. So if you're following these fake Jews, or if you're following the Romans time or the Gregorian time, you will always miss the date and time. And if you can't seem to connect this book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees and the book of Maccabees and the King James Bible in Genesis with this Julian Caesar calendar to understand what is the time, you will never keep the feast day on time, because you won't know how to connect all this that we're learning to the actual calendar that you've been using all your life, to get out of that one and hop into the real one, which is this 364. So it's impossible for March 17th to always be the new year, because March 17th will sometimes fall on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday because of the extra 2 days added. But New Year's is always, and I'm going to prove it, it's always on the 14th day of the 3rd month, according to the Julian season calendar, which is January, February, March. Now count 2 weeks, because each week is 7 days. 7 times 2 equals 14. Sabbath, that 14th day in March That second week in March, that second Sabbath day in March is always the New Year. That Sabbath day is New Year. That can be March 14th, March 15th, March 16th, March 17th, one of the four. But it will always be not on the 17th, the 14th, 13th, the 15th day of March, but always on the 14th day of March. So it means count 2 weeks from March. So although the number order of the days remain fixed, like first day to the 7th day, their corresponding name order of the days, Sunday to Saturday versus first day to 7th day, change positions. So if you call it Sunday, Saturday, it may seem like it may not make a big difference, but it do. Because what's considered Saturday for you? Friday and Saturday evening, or just Saturday? You see? What is considered Sunday to you? Saturday night and Sunday morning, or or just Sunday? So that will confuse you. But if you say first day, you already know the first day is going to be half of Saturday night, Saturday evening to Sunday evening. You know that's the first day. Second day will be Sunday evening to Monday evening. That's the second day. You know the 7th day would be Friday evening to Saturday evening. So according to the Julian season calendar, stick with me, Friday evening, Saturday evening is considered one day. So if you're calling it by Saturday itself, you're going to be thrown off. That's where the stumbling block was. And that's where the stumbling block is. If you're looking for a Saturday each year to begin the new year, it will throw you off. Or not the Saturday, but if you're looking for a fixed day, like the 17th day, like, hey, last year, a Feast of Passover, New Year, or Abib or Nisan or Aviv was on March 17th. So now that I know it started on March 17th, it should fall on March 17th again next year. And fall on March 17th next year after that. And it's always going to be on March 17th. No. That's a stumbling block. It will not be. So if you try to stick to March 17th, eventually, not only are you going to miss the New Year on Sabbath day, you will also be celebrating the New Year on a weekday, which is like the first day or the second day or the third day of the week instead of the 7th day, like you should. So get used to calling the days of the week the first day of the week, second day of the week, the third day of the week. Like today is the 28th day of the 6th month according to our calendar, our Hebraic solar calendar. This is also the 3rd semester of summer, the last semester. There's 3 semesters of each season. And now we're about to enter the 1st semester of fall. I need to make a calendar or chart for this, unless someone have one and can share with me. So let me see where we are on timing. Alright. So, once again, although the number order of the days remain fixed, first day, second day, third day, 4th day of the week, 5th day of the week, 7th day of the week, all that, the corresponding name order of the days, Sunday to Saturday, change positions. This is very important to understand. Salah. Because only the weekly 7th day is the holy day, and not the name Saturn Day, Satan Day, which is named after fallen deities. The 7th day will be on a different name day in the week beginning every March 16th for a whole year. So it's not always on March 16th, but like they said, it will be on a different name day in the week beginning every March 16th for a whole year. So the 7th day Shabbat can only be on the fixed named day in the week on the calendar of 364 days. Not 365. Having exactly 52 weeks, which represents the Feast of Pentecost. And not 52 weeks plus 2 days as on the Gregorian calendar. So in the book of Jubilees, chapter 6, verse 29 through 31, and they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks. So 13 weeks. And he said, from one to another passed their memorial, from the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. And these are the 4 seasons, the 4 semesters. 13 weeks each, from one to another. So in all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days, which mean the sun represents days, right? So 52 weeks of the sun going up and the sun going down. The sun going down represents the new day. The sun going up represents almost the end of the day. So when these will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets in the sky, in the sun and moon. And there's a specific star around that time that signifies the new year. It only appears once a year because everything orbits. So it takes almost a whole year for everything to orbit from the east back to the east. So from the east to the west, from the west back to the east. And that star signifies that we're back in the east. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But this also signifies New Year, as well as the sun and moon resting on the same day, and springtime, and the flowers starting to bud around that time, and knowing that it falls in March, because we march out of Egypt during that time. Don't be an April fool. The New Year is not in April, and nor is the Passover of Christ in April. Don't be a fool. So, and there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year. We cannot. That's why it's important. So this is clear to see on the Enoch, Kanawak, 364-day calendar that does not have the Roman names Sunday through Saturday on it, and excludes the name 315th in every year. It excludes 315th in every year. The name 314 corresponds to the 30th day of the 12th month, which would be Adar. But then there's one extra day that would represent, that will represent the season change. That's why they think it's going to happen around 3/14, the 14th day of the first month. The first month for us is March. The third month of the Gregorian calendar is our first month of the year. So on that day, March, on the 14th day from March, the second week, corresponds to the 30th day, which means the 14th will be Friday. And by the time it hits sundown, to Saturday sundown, that 15th would literally represent New Year. But remember, there is no 15th, 16th, or 16th day in the year because for us, the 14th day in the third month, according to our calendar, is the 30th day in the 12th month. So March 14th, or the 14th day in March, is literally the 30th day in the last month of our Hebraic calendar. That's why it throws people off. And then you have 31 days, which will be the 15th. Well, it will be like the 15th and 16th, because you know their time is kind of off. And then the 16th and 17th, ending on the 17th, which is, the 17th, the 17th would represent Abib the first, Nisan the first, Abib the first, spring. But there is no March 17th according to our version of the calendar. According to their calendar, March 17th, or the 17th day in March, would represent for us the new year, which would be Saturday sundown. But don't go based on that. I'm gonna show you a couple of things though. So keep an open mind still. We're not gonna judge the new year based on the 15th, 14th, 16th, 17th day of March. I'm gonna simplify. Just bear with me. So the name 314 corresponds to the 30th day of the 12th month, and it is excluded every 4th year when the name 229, February 29th, is included. So one only needs to remember that March 16th is the last day of the year and the last Sabbath day of the year. So around March 14th, around March 15th, 16th, and 17th, when it's a Sabbath day and it's already been 2 weeks from March, that would be New Year. So you'll know, like, say for instance, if like it's March 16th and it's Friday, I know that the next day is New Year. I'll know March 17th, New Year. But say for example, like, 2 weeks pass in March, the 14th day, 14 days pass in March, and it's like March 12th, and we're in the second week of March. So say for instance March 12th is Friday in the second week, I would know that March 13th, the next day, is New Year. So you can tell it's New Year based on 14 days from the 3rd month. So one only needs to remember that March 16th is the last day of the year and the last Sabbath day of the year in every year, and to count to every 7th day thereafter. So March 23rd, March 30th, April 6th, April 13th. So 7 days each, etc. To observe the holy Sabbath day. That's how we'll be able to tell Sabbath days. And each season will also fall on Sabbath day once you get this right. So March 16th is the day of equal. So the 16th day of the 3rd month is the day of equal night and equal day, the sign of the Sabbath day. So don't look at it though as March 16th every year or nothing like that yet. We'll see. So Enoch, the book of Enoch, chapter 72, verse 31 through 33. And on that day the sun rises from that portal, which is in that new year, which is the 4th portal, and sets in the west, and returns to the east, and rises in the 3rd portal for 31 mornings. So the 3rd portal will be by the 3rd semester of spring. That's how you know you're going into another portal, is those seasons. And it sets in the west of the heaven. So the sun always rises in the east and rests in the west. So on that day the sun rises from that portal, which is around that Sabbath day, equal night, and sets in the west and returns to the east and rises in the 3rd portal, because there's 4 portals and there's 4 recognizable years. 4 years, like before things change. So after the 4th year, everything goes back to, like the date you think it was. Like March 16th, this year is New Year. Next year is March 15th. Then the year after that, it's March 13th. And the year after that is March 12th. After those 4 years, it go back to March 16th again. So everything not only goes back where it came from, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 54321 Just like with the moon, when it goes through its phases, it goes from no moon, which they call new moon, to half moon, to full moon. And once it reaches a full moon, it goes back to half moon, and then it goes back to new moon. So it goes from 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, back to where it began. You see? So the same thing with the sun and the moon. The sun, it rises in the east in spring, and it rests in the west in fall, and then it weans its way back to spring again where it began. So the portal's the same way too. When we're in Sabbath day, equal night, New Year's, we're in the fourth portal. But now after 91 days, after 91 days, on that 31st day, the sun rises in the third portal. Which means now we're going back down to 3, back down to 2, back down to 1, and then we go back up again and back down. So literally your 24 hours in the day is really like, it's, although it's 18 hours in the day, it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then everything returns. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And it begins again. 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. That would be a 24-hour day period. But you call it 24-hour when it's really 1 through 12 and 12 back to 1. So this advance, I'll leave that here for now so y'all can be able to absorb this. So on that day, the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts. So the night decreases by 9 hours or by 9 parts. Because there's 9 hours of day and 9 hours of night, which would make 18 hours in a day according to our time. So on the New Year's, there's 9 hours day, 9 hours night. But after that 31st day, the 91st day, night decreases and day increases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. And the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as to its days, 364. And this is in the book of Enoch. So the Gregorian calendar cannot be reconciled with the Enoch calendar, as there are 2 different calendar systems. However, the adjustments that are made towards the end of the year can be stopped to take out the added 365th day, the idols of March, or the Edis of March, and the 366th day, the leap year, to make you stumble. There's no leap years in our freaking calendar, man. Or daylight saving, all this stuff. They're trying to throw you off. That's what they're trying to do. You wonder why there's daylight saving and all that stuff. Because the sun and the moon. They don't want you to know the real time so you don't connect with what's really going on with the sun and moon. The luminaries. So get used to looking at the sun and stars and moon to tell time. You can tell what time it is based on the degree the sun is in the sky. You can tell what season it is and what time it is based on the degree where the moon is at night. So if the moon or the sun is right above you, you know that we're halfway through what we call a day. So when the sun's right above you, you know that we're noon. It can be 3 or 5 o'clock according to their time. If the sun's above my head, it's noon. I don't care about your 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock ideologies. For me, it's 12 o'clock noon right now because the sun's right above my head. It's midday. Now when the moon is above my head like the sun would be, when the moon's above my head, I know it's midnight. I mean, I'm midway through the night. And then when the sun and moon rest and there's half light and half dark in the sky, I know that we're at evening. That there's half of the moon and half of the sun shining before the sun goes up for its 9 hours, 9 parts, and reach noon and rest again back down to evening, so the moon can rise up to midnight and set for 9 hours as well back to evening. It's the same cycle. Everything returns back where it come from the east to the west, from the left to from the right to the left. So the Gregorian calendar cannot be reconciled with the Enoch calendar. So now we continue on. So these adjustments made towards the end of the year, in other words, February 29th, is around the time they try to like adjust their timing, but it doesn't catch up. And therefore the corrections have to be made before the end of the year, or before the equalized day of March 16th, or the 16th day of March, and not at the beginning of the new year. So on the Roman calendar, March 15th marked the beginning of the consular year in the Republic, when 2 elected Roman consuls and agoras, priests, took office for a 1 year term. So from March 15th to March 14th. So the consular year had 10 months of 30 days each, plus 4 days that end the seasons, 2 equinox days and 2 solstice days, or 304 days in total. The Romulus calendar took away 2 months of 30 days. And if those 2 months were put back into the calendar, it would be the Enoch calendar, Kanawat calendar, ending the year on the 30th day of the 12th month of Adar, according to our script, which is March 14th according to your time, with the season change day or spring equinox being on the following day, that extra 1 day, because March 14th and 15th is 1 day, March 15th and 16th is the next day, which is now called March 16th. So March 16th is always the 16th day of March. Not March 16th. I'm gonna show you that March 16th is not always the day every year. But on the 16th day of March is always the last day of the year. Which means by the nighttime, the sunset of March 16th, which you guys would call March 17th, is New Year. By the time March 16th in, which is the 31st day of Adar for us, New Year's begin, which would be to y'all March 17th, which don't exist for us. So the 17th day of March is always the Passover. So it is always the last day of the year, the 364th day, and is the day of equal night and day in Jerusalem. So in Jerusalem might be what you want to adjust your location to when you go to the Naval Observatory to calculate equal day and equal night. So with the sunrise and sunset times, because you want to look for the sunrise and the sunset times when you go to the Naval Observatory, so you can be able to calculate equal day or sunrise and sunset for 1 year and figure out what day is going to have equal day and equal night. Occurring at 5:48 and solar noon occurring at 11:48 a.m. So I don't know what they mean by that fully, but I'm gonna skip that for now because it's not that important, that section. So March 16th or the 16th day is always the 7th day Sabbath, which will be Friday sundown, and sets the 7th day Sabbaths for the next year on both the Kanawat calendar and the Gregorian calendar. So March 17th is New Year's Day in every year. So the 17th day of the 3rd month is always New Year. Why? Because March 14th is when Christ was crucified. Now what's 3 plus 4? 14th, 15, 16, 17. 3 days. March 14th also represents unleavened bread. So by the time Christ rise up, that represents resurrection, springing from the dead, which would represent spring, which would represent the first day of the year for us, and the first month. So, but the world calls this day St. Patrick's Day. When using the Gregorian calendar, just look at March 14th and March 15th as one whole day in the week. And March 15th and March 16th is one whole day. And March 16th and 17th one whole day. With the day ending on March 16th. New Year beginning on the 17th of March. So like Joshua's longest day, because that was from the scripture and stuff. So the days in Kanawak's time and in Joshua's time had 18 parts, 18 hours, or moments per day, phases, portals, 18 portals, which is 18 hours per day. Joshua, Yahushai, made the sun and moon stand still for 36 moments, for 36 minutes. Because moments would mean minute, parts would mean hour. So for 36 minutes, for half an hour. And this equals 2 whole days in time passed. But only 1 day in the week. So those extra days at the end of the season is really considered 2 days in one. But it's really 1 day. You see? So in the book of Joshua, chapter 18, chapter 88, verse 64, and the king hearkened to the voice of Yahushai. So Yeshua hearkened unto the voice of Yahushai. And the sun stood still in the midst of the heavens, and it stood still on 36 moments, for like 36 minutes. And the moon also stood still, and hasten not to go down a whole day. So 36 moments can also mean 36 hours. If you see what I'm saying. Yeah, it would, yeah, actually it does mean 36 hours. Pardon me. So parts in moment means hour. So for 36 hours, which would represent 2 days in one, the moon also stood still and hastened not to go down a whole day. So you call that 36 hours, which is 2 whole days in one, a whole day. So each season change, there's like 36 moments or 36 parts or 36 hours during those season changes. So Joshua, Yahushai, chapter 10, verse 13 through 14. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. So around that time of that Passover was a time when we're fighting against our enemies. Yes, fighting, full-fledged war, and we whoop that butt clean. Yes, we have it in us. It's in us. Because the Most High is the creator. He is the Lord of hosts. Which means Yahweh Tazabawat, or Ahaya Tazabawat. Which means he is the Lord of the armies. What you think he got an army for? To chill? To just spread peace? No. He got a different plan and purpose right now at the moment. That's why he told us to forgive our enemies and all that stuff. To test our faith, to test our love, and to test our strength. But during those times, around these seasons, we used to be kicking ass. Pardon my language, but this is what we're doing around that time. And we made the wall of Jericho fall. So these seasons, this is important we know all this, man. Know your script. So until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies, is not this written in the book of Jasher? So this referenced us to the book of Jasher, which we just read in chapter 88, verse 64 of the book of Jasher. This is where we're being this is why we're being referenced to go to some of these books like Jubilee. Because the Bible speaks about it and we become curious. Like, oh, it's written in the book of Joshua. Who's the book of Joshua? What's that? Let me go on Yahoo and Google. It's easy to find things these days. Let me type in the book of Joshua PDF and see what will pop up. Bloop. Go to chapter 88, 64. So boom. It'll give you the rest. So don't be afraid of the books taken out, man. Or you weren't meant to know the truth or something. That's crazy. So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down the whole day. He repeated it again, just like in the book of Joshua. And on the day before and after, we heard Yahweh and voice of men. For Yahweh fought for Yis-RoyAl. So each day has a total of 1,440 minutes per day. Whether it is broken down by 18 hours per day, having 80 minutes per hour, or 24 hours per day, having 60 minutes per hour. Same thing. So Jerusalem is where the timing begins for the Sabbath day. So yeah, you would probably want to put in the Naval Observatory Jerusalem instead of Mount Sinai. Although Mount Sinai, Mount Horeb, is where we received the commandments during Passover. So when Moses went to go fast for 40 days and 40 nights. Kind of reminds me of, it reminds me of Christ during the temptation when he fasted 40 days and 40 nights. All my ancestors did these things, and they did it on these feast days and these times and periods. They knew the times. It was passed down to us from Enoch, especially through Noah, and then Shem, and then Abraham, and then through Isaac down to Jacob, and here we are, down to the priests and the Judah, which is the Levites, the so-called Haitians, which are part of Judah, the three kingdoms of Judah, and Judah, the so-called Negroes, which is the ancient old school Judah. So at the first light of dawn, for example, so the light of dawn, the sun rises in Jerusalem first and travels westward, and then rises over Egypt as it's rising westward, then Libya, then Algeria, then over the Atlantic Ocean to rise over New York, continuing to California, then Hawaii, then Japan, then China, then Afghanistan, then Iran, then Iraq, then Jordan. And then the sun rises in Jerusalem again, to begin the next day, when the first light of dawn continues moving westward around the globe to begin the next day for all the nations on earth. Isaiah chapter 2 verse 3. And many people shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of Alahayim of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. So Micah chapter 4 verse 2. And many nations shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of Jacob, which we just read. And that's also the sun that's going up to the mountain of Yahweh, Ahaya, to the house of Alahayim, Bayat Alahayim Jacob, that he may teach us his ways and we may walk in his paths, like the sun. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, because that's where the sun rises, which is in Jerusalem. The law will be the sun. And the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. So in other words, dawn. Dawn means morning. They call it Bakar. Bakar. Bakar, Bakar, begins the seventh day, which means Yawam, for all the nations on earth. So Jerusalem starts off everything. It's like everything is circulating around it. So as the first light of dawn is a 24-hour period, so-called 24-hour, which would be the 18th hour period, that is allocated to all the nations, because each nation is getting a portion of the sun during those 18 parts, those 9 hours day, 9 hours night, and as you know, they start to become more day than night as we move from spring, and as we go down to fall and winter, there's more night than day. So the hours start to kind of change a little bit. It's not always equal throughout the year, you see? So we gotta like adjust to all that and stuff. So the Sabbath day goes forth from Jerusalem, making the dawn time be the beginning, and the same Sabbath day for all the nations of earth. So when the sun rises in Jerusalem, that is truly Sabbath day for us. Or when the sun set in Jerusalem, that would be the beginning of New Year Sabbath for us. So everything revolves around Jerusalem. You got to know when the sun rise and set in Jerusalem, because that's where the timing was made around. But everywhere else changed up the time, so we can adjust to every other time but our own nation's time. Any other time but our own tribe's time. They even changed up the word 18 hours to 24 hours. Now it's going to be difficult for some of y'all to adjust. You know it. So making the dawn time be the beginning and the same Sabbath day for all the nations on earth. So the Kanawat calendar was used by David, and he understood that each month had 30 days plus 1 day at the end of each quarter for the change in season. This is how David, Christ Yeshua, great-great-great-granddad, knew when the new month began, as it was a holy festival day celebrated by all the Ibariyat people, the Hebrew people. And that's why King David used to celebrate and dance and throw feasts, not because he wanted to, but the feast was coming up. And that's why when you see the movies about Christ, it's usually around feast days and feast times and, big, busy celebration dates. Not because we celebrate all year round, but, during those feasts and festivals, there was very big times, very big events happening during that time. So in the first book of Samuel, chapter 20, verse 5, in the Holy Bible, King James, David said to Jonathan, "Behold, tomorrow is the new month, and I should not fail to sit at table with the king. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field till the third day at evening." Saturday evening, third day. So in the first book of Samuel, chapter 20, verse 18, then Jonathan said to him, "Tomorrow is the new month, and you will be missed because your seat will be empty." So in Numbers chapter 28, verse 11 through 15, at the beginnings of your months, you shall offer a burnt offering to Yahweh, Alahayam. We don't have to do that no more. We must pray, we must exalt the Most High, and give all due credit to Christ Yeshua, which was slain but yet lived. He was dead, but now he's alive. The king that sitteth upon the throne, he represents our burnt offering. But burnt offering also reminds me of burning away your sins. Burning away those leeches, those attachments, those addictions. To burn those things away. 2 young bulls, 1 ram, 7 male lambs, a year old without blemish. Also 3/10 of an ephah. So an ephah is 3/10. A fine flour for a cereal offering, which reminds me of unleavened bread, mixed with oil, olive oil, for each bull, like you're making a patty. Meat inside, your burnt meat offering, which I don't know what he tells us to eat here. I'm not saying to eat this too, because the fat of the animal is supposed to go on the altar and stuff like that. It's kidneys and all that junk for a sweet savor, burnt on proper wood and all that. But also the flour with oil for each bull. Which, why would you be putting flour on a big bull for? Maybe because the bull is considered beef. And the flour mixed with oil is going to create bread. Now you're going to be sticking that beef inside of the bread to make patties. You wonder why dark-skinned people love patties so much. It was one of our favorite things to create. And 2/10 of fine flour for a cereal offering, mixed with oil for 1 ram, and 1/10 of fine flour mixed with oil as a cereal offering for every lamb, for a burnt offering of pleasing odor, an offering by fire to Ahaya. Their drink offering shall be half an hin of wine for a bowl. That's our drink offering, which reminds me of the blood of Christ, the blood and bread of Christ, and burning away sin. Because everything got to be put in a spiritual context now, remember? So 1/3 of a hin for a ram, and 1/4 of an hin for a lamb. Now if you don't know what a hin is, look it up. So this is the burnt offering of each month throughout the months of the year. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering to Ahaya. It shall be offered besides the continual burnt offering and its drink offering. So in Isaiah, Yeshaya, chapter 66, verse 23, from new month to new month, and from Sabbath to Sabbath, all flesh shall come to worship before me, says he exists, or I exist, Yahweh Ahaya. Ezekiel chapter 46, verse 1, thus says the king Yahweh Ahaya, the gate of the inner court that faces east shall be shut on the 6 working days. So the gate, which means portal, of the inner court that faces east shall be shut on the 6th working days. But on the Sabbath day it will be open. The portal shall be open on the Sabbath day to the inner court. And on the day of the new month, which falls on the Sabbath day as well, it will be opened. Y'all still believe in rapture and disappearing and things like that? Transfiguring? So Ezekiel chapter 46 verse 3, the people of the land will worship at the entrance of the gate before Yahweh on the Sabbaths. So at the entrance, at the beginning of sundown, at those gates before the transition, they will worship the Most High, which is a peaceful sacrifice, a bloodless sacrifice, on the Sabbaths and on the new months. So Amos chapter 8 verse 4 through 7, hear this, you that trample on the needy will desist, and the poor of the land shall rest. Sabbath. You that say, when the new month is over, we will sell grain, and the Sabbath we will open the wheat, to measure out less and get more shekels back by falsifying the scales, and being deceitful, to inquire the silver of the poor and the shoes of the needy, but sell them the refuse of the grain. Yahweh swore that this arrogance of Jacob will never be forgotten, nor their works. So when we worship the Most High and ask for forgiveness or fast on those days, praying and fasting in spirit and truth, we shall also ask forgiveness for our ancestors. For Esau as well, which is our brother, and Ishmael, our cousin, our cousin, which would be our father's father's son. So in the second book of Kings, Japheth is well in him to ask for forgiveness for all of them, although we're not suffering for what they did. We're all one branch of Noah, and we all came from Adam overall. Don't be fooled. So in the second book of Kings, chapter 4, verse 23, he said, "Go, it is not the day of the new month or Sabbath, so go in peace." So the book of Enoch shows the original holy calendar and gives details on the number of days in each of the 12 months. It tells us that the calendar is solar, with a year that has exactly 364 days of solar light. It states that the last day of the year, the 31st day, has equal day and equal night parts, hours and minutes. Enoch, Kanawak, chapter 72, verse 31 through 33. Okay, so we already read this already. So, this day is not the vernal equinox, which is in fall. We're going into the vernal equinox. The equinoxes are spring and fall, and the solstices are summer solstice and winter solstice. Those are solstices. Equinox mean everything's equal on that time. And there's a spring equinox, the autumn equinox, and the vernal equinox. The vernal equinox is, that would be around fall season. So this day is not the vernal equinox, as the vernal equinox day does not have equal night and day parts. So in astronomy, the vernal equinox is defined as a moment or point in time, not a whole day, when the center of the sun can be observed directly above the Earth's equator. The equator is over 2,000 miles away from Mount Sinai. When the Kanawak calendar was given to Moses, so the vernal equinox has absolutely nothing to do with the holy calendar. Alright, I hope vernal does mean fall. So the change of season occurs every 13 weeks or every 91 days or 4 days in a year, which represent the season changes. Each month has 30 days plus an additional day at the end of each quarter. The 31st day for the season change, where the sun remains at the same latitude as the 30th day. The sun is at the celestial latitude of 0 degrees, 0, on the equinoxes. That's why people think that the vernal equinox fall is equal day and equal night, but it really isn't. There's only one. So the fall season, it's not that it's equal day and equal night, but the sun is at the celestial latitude of 0 degrees on spring and fall. And that can be mistaken as equal day, equal night, but it's not. Only in spring is it 0 degrees and equal day and equal night. In fall, it's 0 degrees, but not equal day and equal night. But the sun and moon is equal to each other at the equator, because now the moon, the night got to increase and the day got to decrease. So there's a crossing point around the vernal equinox. It represents a crossing over. So in the 16th day of March and the 14th day of September, the 31st days, well, actually September 13th they met. September 14th would represent the first day of the 7th month. On the solstices, the sun ascends to the celestial latitude of 90 degrees on the solstices, which means it's above our head. So when it's at the equinox, at the equator is 0 degrees. But when the sun or moon is above our head, which is summer and winter, it's always at a 90-degree angle. So on the solstices, the sun ascends to the celestial latitude of 90 degrees north on June 15th, June 14th, 15th, and then begins its declination, which is starting to go back down to the celestial latitude of 90 degrees south on December 13th to 14th, the 31st days. So in other words, there are 4 days in the year that are the 31st days, where the sun will remain at the same fixed latitude as that of the 30th days, and will not ascend or decline, so that there is a 360-degree rotation in 1 year, although there are 364 days in 1 year. So the sun remains at celestial latitude of 0 degrees for 2 days to begin the spring, and it remains at celestial latitude of 90 degrees north for 2 days to begin the summer. And it begins at celestial, heavenly latitude, position of 0 degrees for 2 days to begin the autumn. Okay, so the autumn equinox. And it remains at celestial latitude of 90 degrees south for 2 days to begin the winter solstice. So it's 0, 90, 0, 90, back to 0. In order too. So Enoch, the book of Enoch, Kanawak, chapter 82, verse 4 through 15. Blessed are all the righteous, blessed are all those who walk in the way of righteousness, and sin not as the sinners, which mean transgressing the course of time and command, even the sun's on command and all that. In the reckoning of all their days in which the sun traverses the heaven, where it travels from east to west, back to east, from 0 to 90, back to 0. So entering into and departing from the portals for 30 days. So it's going in and out of portals for 30 days. With the heads of thousands of the order of the stars. Stars also represent angels and messengers. So these days in these portals represent the angels and gates and time periods and openings, loopholes. So with the heads of thousands, which will be the 31st day, order of the stars, together with the four extra days in the season, they're considered angels, are intercalated, which divide the 4 portions of the year, the 4 seasons. They're intercalated, which lead them and enter with them 4 days in a year. So those extra days of the season are the heads of thousands. They're the heads of the portals, and they are the heads of everything, to see everything. And they must appear at the same time, or they have broke the covenant. So they appear at the same time. They never change. They never transgress the law. Men have, and the moon have, and so have the sun have as well at some points. But there's more scripture for that one in the book of Jubilees and Enoch. So owning to them men shall be at fault, and not reckon them in the whole reckoning of the year, which means men will be at fault because they won't add those 4 intercalated days which divide the 4 portions of the year, which lead the year and the angels from season to season, portal to portal. So because they're not going to add those, they're not going to stay on 364-day period, men shall be at fault and not reckon them in the whole reckoning of the year. Yeah, men shall be at fault and not recognize them accurately. So recognize them accurately. For they belong to the reckoning of the year, and are truly recorded thereon forever in the heavenly tablets. 1 in the first portal, and 1 in the third portal, and 1 in the fourth portal, and 1 in the sixth portal. So the first portal, third portal, fourth portal, sixth portal. And the year is completed in 364 days. And the account thereof is accurate, and the recorded reckoning thereof exact for the luminaries. So it's exact for the stars, sun, and moon. And for the months and the festivals and years and days has Yis-RoyAl shown and revealed to me. So Yis-RoyAl, Yis-RoyAl, mean God is my light. Allah Hayam is my light. He's in charge of the luminaries. He is the head of the thousands. He's the one heading those stars, in control of that. That's his duty. So he's in charge of the luminaries, and he showed and revealed to Enoch the time. So pardon me, let me see where we are on time. Pardon me for, going through this whole lecture about the time and seasons right now. But it's very important we know this so we can know why I'm telling you guys September 13th is the Feast of Trumpets. It's actually a Shabbat day as well. And I'm going to share with you guys in part 2 also, which will be our ending video, what we did on that day and some historical stuff, so you can have something to read on that day, or to talk about, or to understand the day and time. So Yis-RoyAl, Yis-RoyAl, Allah Hayam is my light, shown and revealed to me, to whom the King Yis-RoyAl of the whole creation of the world has subjected the hosts of heaven. So Yis-RoyAl gave even the archangels command. He's in charge of all of them. When you ask Christ for help, he usually sends you an angel, one that is one that specializes in the cares and needs that you need at the time to be comforted. He is the comforter, the Spirit of truth, and he's the one dwelling in the angels. But guess what? It is the Father that dwelleth in Christ. It is the Father that dwelleth in the Mother. It is the Father that dwelleth in the archangels. It is also the Father that dwelleth in the luminaries. Just like in us, it is the Father that dwelleth in us. That's why everything keeps Sabbath and keep the holy days, because we're all unified. And those who are transgressing the law, they shall be cast away. So when he has power over night and day in the heaven to cause the light to give light to men, sun, moon, and stars, and all the powers of the heaven which revolve in their circular chariots. So now he calls the body of the sun, star, and moon chariots, because they're vehicles. There's something sitting in those vehicles, and they have orders in charge. So the Most High uses the elements against us and all things like that, and uses that one star I told you about that appears once a year, which we're about to go into. So and these are the orders of the stars, which set in their places, and in their seasons, and festivals, and months. And these are the names of those who lead them, who watch that they enter at their times, in their orders, in their seasons, in their months, in their periods of dominion, and in their positions. We're about to give you names now. So there are 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year into first. So now they just told you the head of days. And after them, the 12 leaders of the orders, which are the 12 months, who divide the months. And for the 360 days, there are heads over thousands who divide the days. So once again, there are 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year into first. And after them, the 12 leaders of the orders who divide the months. First month, second month, up to the 12th month. And for the 360 days, because we already talked about the 4 days here, for the 360 days, there are heads over thousands who divide the days. So that would be 364 days of 12 months. So 364 4 days of 12 months. So, and for the 4 intercalary days, there are the leaders which sunder the 4 parts of the year. And these heads over thousands are intercalated between leader. So they're in between those years. You see? And they're intercalated between leader and leader, each behind a station. So they're behind the 4 leaders. They follow the 4 years, the 4 leaders. But their leaders make the division. And these are the names of the leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year which are ordained. Here we go. Milkiel, Helamelech, and Melejal, and Narel. Those are the 4. And you got to translate that into Hebrew to get the real name, because as you know, they changed up the names from Paleo Hebrew, Lashawan Kodash, to English, or Yiddish, which is awful. I rather it in English than Yiddish. So in the names of those who lead them, so now those who lead them, the 12 leaders that lead those days, those 4 seasons, is called Adonarel, and Ijasuzael, and Elomiel. So in these 3 follow the leaders of the orders. So they follow the leaders of the year. So the equinoxes and solstices is the beginning of the years. So, and there is one that follows the 3 leaders of the orders, which follow those leaders of stations. So there's one that follows the 3 leaders of the orders, which follow those leaders of stations that divide the 4 parts of the year. So there's one leader of the orders which follow those leaders of stations, because as you can see is behind each station, that divide the 4 parts of the year. So there's always one of those 3 leaders, which is Adonarel and Ijasuzael and Elomiel. So those 3 follow the leaders of the orders, and there is one that follows the 3 leaders of the orders, which follow those leaders of stations that divide the 4 parts of the year. In the beginning of the year, Melchijal rises first and rules. So Melchijal would be, hold on one sec. Okay, which would be him. So it rises first and rules, who is named Tamani and son. So he is the son. He is in charge of that son. And all the days of his dominion while he bears rule are 91 days. So he's in charge of the solstice and equinox, which is the sun. So in the book of Jubilees, chapter 6, verse 29, verse 31, and they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks, from one to another, past their memorial, from the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. And all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days, and these will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets, and there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year. Enoch was the first man to write down the calendar, and it is the calendar that two classes of angels use, who also observe the Shabbat, Yawam Shabbat, in heaven and on earth. So he says right here, Jubilees chapter 2, verse 16 through 17. And he completed all his work on the sixth day. And all that is in the heavens and on the earth and in the seas and in the abysses, in the light and in the darkness, and in everything. And he gave us, the angels, a great sign. He gave us a great sign, which are the angels. The day of Sabbaths, that we should do work 6 days, and should rest on the Sabbath from all work. And all the angels of the face, and all the angels of the face, and all the angels that cry holy to us. These two great kinds, he said that we should observe the Sabbath with him in heaven and on earth. So these are the two angels that observe Yawam Shabbat with us. The angels of the face, the messengers of the face, and the messengers that cry holy. So in the book of Jubilees, chapter 4, verse 16, and in the 11th Jubilee, Jared took to himself a wife, and her name was Baraka, a daughter of Razugel. And Jared is the son of, is the father of Enoch, I believe. Yeah, the father of Enoch. A daughter of the sister of his father. And the 4th week of this Jubilee, each Jubilee is 50 years each. And the 4th week of this Jubilee, and she bore for him a son in the 5th week. You see how we call things? The 5th week, the 6th week, in the 3rd day of the 1st month, you know, things like that. The 3rd part of the day, you know. And the 4th year, which will mean the 4th day of the 5th week, because year mean day. So in the 4th day of the 5th week of this Jubilee, and he called his name Kanawak, Enoch. He was the first one from among the children of men that are born on the earth to learn writing and knowledge and wisdom. And he wrote the signs of heaven according to the order of their months in a book. The book we're reading now, Book of Enoch. That the sons of men might know the time of the year according to their separate months. He was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the children of men concerning the generations of the earth. So he testified to the children of men, his testimony. He's one of the two witnesses coming in the end times as well. And it was because of him the book of Revelation was even thought of and sought of. All the other prophets after him just confirmed it. He even described the image of Christ before Daniel and anybody else, and John described it. He was the first one to give a testimony. Enoch is very important, guys. He's not to be worshipped, and none of the angels are to be worshipped or, you know, anything like that. But it's good for the heart to know truth. That's all. Salah. So he testified to the children of men concerning the generations of the earth, and explained the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and arranged the months, and explained the Sabbaths of the years, as we made them known to him. So Yahweh's calendar, the Enoch calendar, was observed from the time of the creation week, from the beginning of time. And after the flood, it was observed in Sumer, Shinar, today's southern Iraq, where Noah's family and Abraham lived, where the Chaldees lived, Ur in the Chaldees, which is Syria, Lebanon, and things like that. That's all Canaan, the promised land. The Sumerian priest called Sesk-Alu would look for the following events that signaled the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. And two events occurred on the equalized days, the last 2 days of the year. Here's one. Now we're going to talk about the stars. On the 30th day of the 12th solar month, which will be Adar, which would be around March 16th, March 14th, something like that. Only 3 stars of constellation Pegasus appear just before sunrise on the eastern horizon. So you gotta look for that sign. And that evening the moon sets with the sun, waning crescent moon in third portal. On the 31st day of the 12th month, solar month, the 4 stars of constellation Pegasus, forming a square, appears just before sunrise on the eastern horizon. And the 4th star, called Al-Janib, this is what you need to remember, appears to flicker as it moves above and below horizon, signaling the last day of the year, the spring equinox. And that evening the moon is completely dark, new moon in third portal. So this is important, this star right here, Al-Janib and Pegasus. Now all you have to do is go to like a stargazing website or something like that and calculate it from there. So let me see where we're at with that. Alright, so we're going to be pausing a minute for this part 1. Because in this part 1 I wanted to introduce you guys the calendar. And before you go yet, I'm going to show you why we're thrown up. So on the first day of the first solar month, the 4 stars of constellation Pegasus, forming a square, are steadily visible just before sunrise on the eastern horizon, signaling the first day of the new year. And the moon is completely dark. So the moon sets with the sun from the evening of the 31st day, which is the last day of the 12th month, third portal, to the evening of the first day, which is the first day of the first month, the 4th portal. And this is New Year's Day, or the new month day, and the moon is covered with darkness. So Enoch, Kanawak, chapter 74, verse 3 through 5. So in single 7th parts, she accomplishes all her light in the east. In single 7 parts, single 7 hours, she accomplishes all her light in the east. And in single 7th parts, another 7 hour, 14 hours total, accomplishes all her darkness in the west. And in certain months, she alters her setting. Okay, so they're talking about the moon. So in certain months, she alters her settings, because she's a Jezebel. She's the woman, the man is the head of the house. So the sun is the man. And in certain months, she pursues her own peculiar course, which would throw you off. And this is what the Yiddish, the false Jews, are following. And you think that they're keeping our days and time, and so you're like, I'm going to follow them in their time, because I'm pretty sure they're keeping our time, since they're acting like us, but then they're not. They're following the moon, and she alters her setting, which means she transgressed the law. And in months, she pursues her own, her ego, peculiar course, whatever she want to do, which will throw you off each year. In 2 months, the moon sets with the sun. And those 2 middle portals, the 3rd and the 4th. So the moon catches up with the sun. She stopped rebelling around the end of the year. So by then you missed all the feasts and been thrown off and all that stuff, keeping the wrong Sabbaths and all. So in Psalms chapter 81 verse 3, has been translated incorrectly in many English Bibles, as the word full moon in Hebrew is yarich, male, which mean yarak, and it's male, not female, which mean that they're not talking about moon, they're talking about month, a full month. Actually, moon here will be yarich, and it's yarak malah, which was not used in the verse. It was not used in this verse, Psalms 81:3, if you want to look it up real quick. The Hebrew word used in Psalm 81:3 is bakasa, which means covered, as the moon is covered in darkness. So the moon is covered, meaning that there's a new moon, no moon in the sky. But they mistaken it as full moon, which means a moon full of light, uncovered. So that's been misinterpreted. That whole full moon thing is a stumbling block anyway, because we're calculating things based on the sun. So in Psalms chapter 81 verse 3, blow the trumpet on the new month, on the covered feast day. On the new month blow the trumpet. Targum, Psalms chapter 81 verse 4, blow the horn in the month of Tishri, and the month in which the day of our festivals is concealed, which would be the 7th month, the first day of the 7th month, which is fall, the vernal equinox. So originally from the 31st day of the 12th month at sunset until the first day of the first month at sunset, the moon was in conjunction with the sun. Equal day, equal night. However, a change occurred, and now this happens every saros. So look up that word, saros. Or at the beginning of every 19th year, in a 364-day year, when the moon phase cycle begins to repeat itself on the same dates. For in other words, new moon on March 17th, 1980, 1999, 2018, 2037, 2056, 2075, and 2094. A Jubilee year. See list of Jubilee years below. Now this is on the website, which I'll share with you in a minute. So we think the change may have occurred during Hezekiah's days, when only the sun was held back from ascending. Only the sun was held back, not the sun and moon. But the moon continued on its regular course. In Joshua's days, Yahushai's days, both the sun and moon stood still. So the sun and moon were synchronized. However, when only the sun was held back by 10 degrees, or for 40 minutes, 360 degrees, divided by 24 hours equal 15 degrees per 60 minutes. It appears this event caused the moon to be out of synchronization with the sun, so that a new moon does not coincide with New Year's Day and the Feast of Trumpets in every year. And these feasts begin in the third portal, the 91st day of winter, that leads in to the first day of spring season. And in the fourth portal, the 91st day of summer, that leads in the autumn, the fall, the vernal, the first day of fall season. So in the second book of Kings, chapter 20, verse 11, Isaiah, Yeshua, the prophet called out to Yahweh to keep back the shadow by 10 degrees. By 10 degrees, to keep back the shadow. This is what Yeshua did. And to keep it back from going higher or lower as it ascends on Ahaz. Now when Yeshua, Isaiah, chapter 38, verse 8, he shall keep back the shadow from ascending or declining as the sun ascends on Ahaz. So shadow reminds me of the moon. It shall be kept back by 10 degrees. The sun shall be kept back 10 degrees from going higher or lower. In the book of Enoch, Kanawak, chapter 80, verse 4, and the moon shall alter her order and not appear at her time. She transgressed. She's rebellious, Jezebel. That's why many women are rebellious, because the moon controls women's emotion, and it controls the water and the tides and the waves, emotions, energy waves in motion. So in the book of Enoch, chapter 74, verse 5, in 2 months the moon sets with the sun. And those two middle portals, the third and the fourth, which would be at the end of winter and the beginning of spring. So in 2 months the moon sets with the sun. And those two middle portals, the third and the fourth. So in the Enoch's quarterly calendar, 13 weeks per season in the holy calendar equals 364 days per year. March 15th does not exist in every year, and March 14th does not exist in the leap year. So see details of the Enoch calendar here, which we're about to go into. So nevertheless, the sun, Shamash, still equalizes the year on the 30th day of the solar month. And also on the 31st day of the solar month, which is the season change day, and the star Al-Janib, the sign, still sweeps along the sun's path just before sunrise on New Year's Day, March 17th, supposedly. And this is verified by a Sumerian cuneiform tablet that is housed in the British Museum. And it's called Epic of Creation Tablet V. Look that up. So he made the crescent moon appear, entrusted night to it, and designated it the jewel of night to mark out the days. Go forth every month without fail in a corona at the beginning of the month to glow over the land. You shine with horns to mark out 6 days. You shine with horns to mark out 6 days. This is the sun. On the 7th day, the crown is half. The 15th day shall always be the midpoint, the half of each month. When Shamash looks at you from the horizon, when the sun looks at you from the horizon, gradually shed your visibility and begin to wane. Always bring the day of disappearance close to the path of Shamash. Disappearance reminds me of new moon, and wane reminds me of when the moon is going back down to new moon from a full moon. And on the 13th day, the year is always equalized, for Shamash is responsible for the year, because the sun is responsible for the year. And on the day when the year is about to end, it is always equalized. A sign shall appear, which is Al-Janib, sweep along its path. Then always approach the sun and judge the case. So the remaining 15 lines of the tablet are broken up, but the words New Year's Festival is clearly readable. The star Al-Janib was the sign that appeared on the New Year's Day just before sunrise, and it was the 4th star that completed constellation Pegasus. Constellation Pegasus would look like a square in heaven, and it represented the temple of Ea, Yahweh the Father. And on earth that was called Energora, but is now called Tel Abu Shaharin, Sharin, that was located in Sumer, in the city of Eridu. The biblical Abraham was also from Sumer, in the city of Ur, that was only 14 miles northeast of Eridu. And both cities were on the west side of the Euphrates River. Genesis chapter 11 verse 27 through 31. And Marduk's temple, called Isagila, was on the east side of the Euphrates River. Marduk was also named Ea, Yahweh the Son, which is blasphemy, after his creator Ea, Yahweh the Father. and was given kingship over the gods and angels of heaven and earth. Enuma Elish tablet vi. And Marduk was acclaimed the Elil of the gods, or the god of the gods. Enuma Elish tablet VII 7. So Iyah, which means Yahweh, the Father, Ab Yahweh, was also known as Enki in the ancient texts, and Marduk, Yah, the son, was also known as Ashur, the Assyrian Elil. Marduk, Yah, the son, which is the devil. Yahweh and not junk, was also known as the word Enuma Elish tablet 2, 3, and 7. His word is firm. His command cannot alter. No God can change his utterance. Alright, let me see where we're at right now. Alright, let me skip this right here. So when so it says Marduk, Yahweh the son, or Yah the son, was the one responsible for sending the great flood upon the earth. I don't know if that's true, but look that up. Ira in Ishum, tablet 1. The book of Proverbs also recaps the creation of the world story with Yah, the Father, creating Yah, the Son, and Yah, the Son, creating the heavens and earth. And that's not the name. Enuma Elish, tablet V, 5. And it was Yah, the Son, which is Yis-RoyAl, who brought the Hebrews out of Egypt. So his name is Yis-RoyAl, but they're calling him Yah. Alright, before we finish off, there's something that I wanted to show you guys real quick. So as you can tell, I told you guys we're in the 29th day of the 6th month. This is an example of the Enoch calendar. And 2 more days, it would be, whatchamacallit, autumn, which will be Feast of Trumpets right here, which really will fall on March 13th. Actually, this will be March 13th right here. March 14th will be this right here. So by the end of March 13th, March 14th will be the Feast of Trumpets. That first day of the week. Then we also have the Feast of Atonement, which is on September. We also have a feast day on this is the 10th of the 7th month. We also have a feast right here on September, or what is it? Yeah, September 23rd. So in those first 3 weeks we have a feast, and we have the boots, day of boots, and wave offering and stuff like that on those days. So we'll come back into this a little bit later. This is the website I got some of this information from. You can check it out as well right here, enochcalendars.webs.com/enochcalendar.htm. So right here you can tell they put it on March 17th, New Year's, but that's not New Year's. And as you can tell, the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. This is the closest to our Enoch calendar that we can get. So now if you look over here, 4, 5, 6 a.m., all praise to the Most High. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Matter of fact, you know how I'm going to do it? Watch. I'm going to prove to y'all now why it's not always going to fall on March 17th. Going to the Gathering of Christ calendar thing real quick, which also been a great help to me too. Barakatah, GOCC, although y'all be spreading half-truth. May y'all find the truth. I don't know what your intent is, so I can't really say anything, but y'all been spreading the wrong name. That's all I know. And I've proven that, if you look on my page. So right here you see on March 13th is the Feast of Trumpets. You see? It's the Feast of Trumpets, which really begins on Saturday night. which would be Sunday. You see, just like we see here. So the Feast of Trumpet is technically Sunday, the first day of the week. It begins on Sabbath night. But the Sabbath night represents the 31st day, you see? So Feast of Trumpets is not on Saturday as the way they put it here. It's technically on Sunday. And that would be the 14th. Yup, just like I said, that would be the 14th. So, let me see what else we got. Oh yeah, by the way, Feast of Trumpets, new month always starts on Sabbath day. So it is considered 2 days in one. Alright, now let's go over here to the beginning of the year. I said March is New Year's, right? Let's go to March New Year's. Let's see what's up. Let me see where we at time. Alright. So it might be 3 parts to this video. Pardon me, y'all. I hope you guys get to see all these videos before time because it's important. So March 2013. I tell you that New Year's always 14 days from that day, that time. So we'll have, let me see. So we'll start off over here. This will be Saturday. Saturday night would represent the first day of the week. So we'll start from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Sabbath, plus 7, 14. Now look at here. This year, New Year's fell on March 15th. And March 16th was the first day of it. March 16th happened to be on Sabbath night. And you see they got it right here too. Check it out. New month, holy day for spring. So although they're spreading half truth, there's some truth to what they're saying. Because technically this new year not only fell on the 15th, but it falls on the 16th, which falls on Saturday night. Because the 13th and 14th one day, the 14th and 15th one day, the 15th, 16th one day. And it's always 14 days, 7 plus 7, from New Year's. Because these 2 days are considered as one day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, 7 days. And you do it again. 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, 11 days, 12, 13, 14. This represents the 14th day of the 3rd month. The 14th day of the 1st month for us. March is considered the 1st month. People are trying to look for like what they call 1st month. The 1st month is March. And once you find that 1st month, which is March, and you count 14 days from there, you'll always have your Sabbath and New Year's on the same day. Now check this out now. It's on the 15th this year, right? Hold on. Watch. Now go on to 2013 now. Watch. This is why people's getting thrown off. I had to catch this stumbling block too. So if there's any error in today's lesson, you know, that's because there's still more room to learn. There's always room to learn. And I'm doing this all by myself, seeking the truth with the Holy Spirit. So now remember it fell on the 15th? This is 2 weeks from March. So it's 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, 7 day, which will also represent over here. Well, actually New Year's would begin on a Sabbath day. You see? So I'll be 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, 7 day. Because remember, the new month always start on a Sabbath day. So it's 9 days. This is 7 days. Plus 7 days equal 14, which means in 2013, New Year's was on March 16th. In 2014, it's March 15th. 2013 is March 16th. 2015 is March 15. 2016 or 15 is March 14. And 2016 or whatever is 13. And then it goes back again and starts at this. So now look. So now it's on March 16th. Let's go to March 15th now and see what's up. Two weeks from Sabbath. From March. So 1 week. Wait. Let me see where we at. So 1 week, 2 weeks. 1 week, 2 weeks. You see? So 2 weeks from the first day of the week. That would fall right here. Again. Wait. Pardon me. Let me go to March. When we marched out of Egypt. So alright. 1 week, 2 weeks. So as we know, 2014, it falls on the 15th. 2015, it should be falling on the 14th. And there we go. 2 weeks from March. 2 weeks. 14. Now next year is probably the 13th. And then it starts all over. Okay, let me see. Okay, this one's actually on the 12th. 2016, it's actually on the 12th. And let me see. Yup, it would fall on the 12th because it's always 2 weeks into March. Count 1, 2. I know it's not the 19th. That would be 3 weeks. It's the 12th. Now let's see what it's going to be for 2017. So this time it was thrown off by two days. This one is thrown off by 1. March 11th, New Year's. So probably for 7 years it changes. So it's probably going to be the 10th. Yup. See what I'm saying? So when you try to follow it based on the Gregorian time in their calendar, the March, September, January, all that stuff, and Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it'll always throw you off. And this is why this calendar is right, but at the same time it's wrong because it will not always fall on March 17th. So this is off by 1 day. It was March 16th. And then, okay, first quarter of summer, second quarter of summer, third quarter of summer, 31 days. So that 31 days, this is going to be March 13th. It's off by 1 day. And I know, you know why? Today's the 11th and the 13th is Sabbath. I know that New Year's is not on the 20th next week. It's on this day, it's the 13th. And the 14th will be the first day of autumn, which represents Feast of Trumpets. So I hope you guys get that. And there's 1 semester of autumn, 2 semesters of autumn, 3 semesters of autumn. Then we go back to now we go into winter. 1 semester of winter, 2 semesters of winter, 3 semesters of winter, and there's equal day and equal night right here. And this is where Joshua's long day count is at and all that stuff. And then right after that 31st day is over, it starts back again on the first day of the week, because we just noticed that ended on the 7th day. It starts on the first day of the week again on a Sabbath night. So once you get the time right, you don't need to look at this calendar and be like, oh, is it March 17th or March 16th? All you got to do is calculate 364. And it'll always be the same. And that's how simple it is. So alright y'all, I'll see y'all in the next part of this video. I hope you guys have a lovely day. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Spread it around. Share it with everyone you know. And we'll continue in the next part. Shalom. Barakatah.